Hey, this is Sean with nothingsIncurable.com. I have a subject today about a product, about a superfood, that what I'm going to tell you about this thing is going to blow you away. The stories that I'm going to tell you about people I convinced to take it, including myself, is going to blow you away. This stuff I've been wanting to do this for months, but I couldn't make the video until I got the proper data from taking it myself and people around me taking it. Now, what I'm going to tell you about is a superfood from Peru, which I believe possibly could cure any disease. Possibly. I mean, from what I've been seeing, it's possibly, and from what I've read about it, you know, it's nutritional value and it's phytochemicals. It's possible, but it's called Camu-Camu. Now, what makes this thing special is that it has the second highest content of vitamin C known on planet Earth. The only other thing that has a higher known vitamin C content is this. It's like a similar grape, because like Camu-Camu is like a grape, very tart, sour grape, but it's called kakadu and it's from Australia, and it has slightly more vitamin C content. Now, I made a YouTube video explaining to people that synthetic ascorbic acid or derived isolate ascorbic acid, which nobody really does anyway, unless they add bioflavonoids to it. But synthetic ascorbic acid is not vitamin C. Vitamin C is a complex. None of these things in nature either work or work correctly when you pull them out of the complex which nature pulled them in. You can go to the store and you can buy all of these pills and supplements, and you know, they've proven that this does this or this does this or blah blah blah. It doesn't do it unless it's in its natural chemical environment, and none of these things work alone. It's like trying to pull out your eye and then say, okay, we'll see. Well, you need consciousness to see, you need your brain to see, you need a whole bunch of things for your eye to interpret what it's seeing for you to see it. This is the same thing in the natural world. Now, what they call ascorbic acid is basically an isolate of vitamin C complex, which includes vitamin K, tyrosinase, bioflavonoids, and choline. They all work together, and the way the molecule looks is it's like the ascorbic acid is kind of looks like it's a shell for all these things, like it's protecting it. Now, if you take, I wrote an article that I just finished recently, where I'm much more detailed and in depth what I'm telling you about, especially in terms of vitamin C and stuff like that. I'll have a link to the video I did on the difference between real vitamin C and synthetic ascorbic acid. And I don't just want to demonize synthetic ascorbic acid, which is primarily derived from GMO corn, because if you pull out the isolate of ascorbic acid, it's not as bad as something created in a lab from GMO corn, but it's still not in its environment. You know, it needs to be in its natural chemical environment for it to do its miracles. Now, if you go on PubMed or ResearchGate or whatever, you'll find thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of research articles on ascorbic acid, which are primarily done on synthetic ascorbic acid. They're very conflicting on what they say it can and cannot do, because they don't continually get the same results. So people get different results, but the problem is that you're using ascorbic acid, and like distilled water, if you drink distilled water, which I tell people not to, you should only do it therapeutically. But if you drink distilled water is basically dead water. So when you drink it, water naturally has a certain complex of electrolytes. You know, phosphorus, calcium, magnesium. I think there's one or two more. I can't even remember what they are. But sodium, and I think there's one other one. So when you drink distilled water, it naturally wants to recompose itself. So if you drink it, it actually starts pulling calcium and magnesium out of your bones and other electrolytes out of your body to reconstitute itself. And if you drink it too much, you're going to get some serious nutrition deficiencies that can lead to different type of chronic ailments. So the same thing they theoretically say, and I say theoretically because there's very little research on whole complex vitamin C. And I'm going to tell you this, and I can't be more serious when I tell you this. I've been researching this for months and months and months, not just through books, but through experimentation on myself and my friends. Some of my friends, I don't know if they know they're guinea pigs, but they are. But everything I've read about whole complex vitamin C and the implications of ingesting this in from whole foods, especially these superfoods, tells me that there is a worldwide conspiracy against people from having whole complex vitamin C, because from everything that I can see, if you have whole complex vitamin C in your body, you won't get sick. You won't even degeneratively age. Now, it sounds like what I'm saying now sounds like madness, but wait till you hear the stories I'm going to tell you. So back to what I was saying. Camu-Camu is a superfood from Peru. They grow it in the Amazon and so on, and I think some other areas, but primarily these superfoods are from Peru, especially the Camu-Camu. Now, it has per teaspoon, it has over 10 times the amount of vitamin C compared to an orange. Now, one of the tricks about living in the United States or Canada, and in some instances Western Europe, but mainly over here, is that when they tell you, eat broccoli or eat this, it's high in this, or eat that, eat oranges, it's high in vitamin C, eat red peppers, whatever they're telling you the nutritional value of these foods are, I would just cut it by more than half, because the soils, the commercial farm soils in the United States or wherever these corporations are, have abused the soil so much that the soils have no magnesium, no silica, a lot of nutrition is gone. Hence why when you eat a tomato or an apple that's grown in the US, and then you eat one if you go to Italy, you realize the ones in the US have no flavor. They actually have no flavor, but you don't know it doesn't have any flavor, and that's the nutrition. The nutrition gives it its color, its flavor, There's no nutritional value. So it's from my perspective and from what I've studied, it's impossible to live in America and to eat food, vegan or not vegan or vegetarian, and it's organic and not get sick, because the food is nutritionally depleted. From what I'm seeing now, you have to import superfoods to get proper nutrition, or get it in a bottle, which I prefer not to do. So anyway, Camu-Camu, again, has the second highest vitamin C content. It has about, if you get it raw and organic, and I'm going to tell you why this is very important to get it raw and organic. If you get it raw and organic, it has about 700 milligrams of vitamin C per teaspoon, 3 to 5 grams, right? This is a lot of whole complex vitamin C. Now, one of the main importance of whole complex vitamin C is the bioflavonoids. Everything works together with each other, but the bioflavonoids are powerful antioxidants that do all these different health related things in your body. Vitamin C itself can repair your DNA. Now, if you see people, and if you see people who smoke, not only are they aging themselves, like if you notice when people smoke a lot, they get wrinkles on their mouth, it's because smoking creates free radicals. Free radicals come from pollution, smoking, bad food, alcohol, all this stuff. And what it does is it attacks your body at an atomic level by stealing electrons. So when you look at somebody's mouth who smokes a lot, you notice they have wrinkles there. That's because the electrons, that's cellular oxidation or oxidative stress. It looks like they've aged. And that's because the smoking pulls out their electrons in that region and causes them to prematurely age there. So they look like a prune. You know, the bioflavonoids and the vitamin C go into your body and from an atomic level heals you. It replaces the stolen electrons. You know, the bioflavonoids do all type of stuff. Like one of the most important things that vitamin C does, especially in the times we live right now, is that it releases this thing called interferon in your body, which basically what it does is that if a virus enters your body, the interferon releases it in all the cells, and what happens is it tells the cell not to allow the virus to enter the cell. A virus is a parasite. It's a vampire. It's not like bacteria. A virus is harmless if it cannot enter your cell and replicate. It can't do anything. It'll just pass right through you, right? This is one of the main things real whole complex vitamin C does. Now, there's a research article. I quoted it in my article that you can find in the description, where they did a test where they had these people take 1,000 milligrams of synthetic vitamin C, and they gave this other group of people the equivalent of 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C per day through Camu-Camu. And after they did they went through the time period, they checked all these indicators with oxidative stress and all these other indicators. And with the ascorbic acid takers, nothing happened. And with the people who took Camu-Camu, all of these indicators changed for the positive in their body. Now, I've been taking vitamin C tablets all my life. I know I stopped a long time ago, but I think I only recently threw out a bottle I had in my medicine cabinet. Well, not in my medicine cabinet, but my kitchen cabinet. And it's never done anything. It's just a waste of money. It doesn't do anything. They have us spending money on all this crap that doesn't do anything. But again, if you turn to nature, if you turn to what's in front of us, if you're willing to research, if you're willing to search, you'll find the cure, you'll find the nutrition on this planet that you can ingest. Now, Camu-Camu is good for many, many things, which I can't even enumerate. Me personally, from what I've researched, like I said earlier, I think this thing can cure anything. This thing is good for inflammation. It's obviously good for oxidative stress. And again, a lot of people don't know what oxidative stress is. Everything you're dealing with right now, your stress in your life, depression, your diet, it's killing you slowly. It's breaking you down from an atomic level, slowly causing you to age. If you eat high antioxidant foods, your whole physiology will change, including your mind. This stuff, it's good for your immune system. Like I said, it boosts your immune system. Vitamin C is much more concentrated. I think it's 80 times more concentrated in your white blood cells compared to your red blood cells. And this is one of the reasons why I believe that this thing is, there's a worldwide conspiracy, not against Camu-Camu, but against whole complex vitamin C. They don't want you to know about this stuff because they know if you have it, you won't get sick. It'll turn back the clock, which you'll see in these testimonies I'm going to tell you about if I can remember all of them. This thing, it enhances your mood. You have something called the blood-brain barrier. And what that is, it's a system in your body that protects your nervous system, your spine and your brain from anything harmful. So you have to be a very small molecule to be able to actually enter into this place, your brain and stuff. This is why a lot of medicines they want to do, or people who have, issues with their head, they don't really have medicines that can directly go up there and, do something, because the molecules are not small enough to penetrate it. But phytonutrients and vitamin C breaks the blood-brain barrier, as well as magnesium chloride. Yeah, okay, so it also really improves your liver health. It's very, very powerful for your liver health. I don't know if I would rate it like milk thistle, because milk thistle will cure fatty liver, cirrhosis, inflamed liver, non-viral hepatitis, which is an inflamed liver. If you combine it with wild oil of oregano, the subspecies Oregano vulgare, I've combined that with milk thistle as well as black seeds. And a friend of mine who had chronic hepatitis B got it out of their system. They no longer have chronic hepatitis B, and they claim you can't cure that. So this stuff is really good for your liver, but I don't know if I could rate it above milk thistle, but you never know. It's very good for gut health. It's anti-candida. It's very good for your gums and your oral health, and it's very good for your vision, because you have these two phytonutrients, lutein, and I know I'm not going to say this correctly, zearaxanthin. I know that's not the word, but it's something similar. But you can get these things, even eye doctors will, they have to admit this stuff works. But this has this in there. It has this. These are the phytonutrients in Camu-Camu. It supports cardiovascular health. It's very good for your heart, and so on and so forth. And your oral health is related to your heart health, and so on and so forth. Now, I could go on and on about this stuff, but let me tell you I'm going to tell you what it did for me first. Now, when I first started taking this stuff, now, before I tell you this, my friend actually said to me, I attracted the injury so I could find out what this stuff does. Because when I take stuff, because I'm healthy, and I always experiment with anything I recommend to anybody. I don't just go by book knowledge. I always try the stuff that I recommend to people. So what happened was, at the gym, I developed this condition called trigger finger. Well, I actually had trigger thumb. I couldn't bend my thumb like this. I swear to God, one day I woke up and I had to fight to bend it. And when I bent it, it was like changing gears on the bicycle. Click, 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 click. Then I got to the point where I couldn't bend my thumb. And I didn't know what to do. When I looked it up, they said the only way they can address this is by injecting you. And trust me, you'll have a better chance of getting me in hell facing the devil than dealing with a syringe. I don't like those things. I don't want to go near those things. But they inject you with steroids, or they do a procedure. That's the only way they know how to fix this. Within 2 weeks, my trigger finger disappeared, which triggered me to do deeper research. Why my thumb healed like that within 2 weeks. I had it for a few months, from the gym. I know it was doing something, but what I realized is that I think everybody is borderline scurvy. Scurvy is a vitamin C deficiency, which if it gets bad enough, you'll die. Because what I found out is that vitamin C is the glue of your body. Your ligaments, your tendons, especially your ligaments and tendons, are intimately related to the vitamin C content in your body. You literally can view vitamin C as crazy glue. So, like when you take lutein and ziraxanthin, again, I know I'm not pronouncing that right. Vitamin C is the apex of the pyramid for everything health related. I would say vitamin related. When it comes to minerals, I would put magnesium as the apex for everything mineral related in your body. But I would put vitamin C on the vitamin side, and I'd actually put it on both actually, because if you get a severe magnesium deficiency, I don't think you're going to die. I mean, you get dysfunctional, you get all type of issues and problems. But if your vitamin C gets really bad, you just croak, man. So I think vitamin C, I rate it as the apex. If you have vitamin C in your body, all the other nutrition in your body starts to now work correctly. It's the glue, it's the apex of everything else. So my finger just started working within 2 weeks. My skin got younger. When I go to the gym, I have even more energy. And that's with taking magnesium glycinate. My digestion improved even more. The skin on my legs. Now, I had this issue since I don't even know when. It's my left calf. There's like some veins there that I know blood has been leaking from them for years, because I don't have like a discoloration on my leg where it's noticeable, but around the ankle you can see that's where the blood is gathering, and that's where you would see it darker. And ever since I've been taking this stuff, it fixed my veins. So if you have like varicose veins or any type of vascular problem, this stuff will fix it. Vitamin C is needed for all these things. And let me tell you this, if you research vitamin C, I would multiply times 100 whatever health benefit they're telling you ascorbic acid does, because ascorbic acid is just one aspect of vitamin C. When you get the whole complex, miracles start happening in your life. Now, I'm trying to remember, because I've been taking this stuff for months. I'm trying to remember all. My vision improved more. It definitely improved more. My vision definitely improved more. I can't really remember if there was anything else with me in particular. But the trigger finger was the main thing. Now, a friend of mine, I have two friends who I first get on this, whatever I discover. One is this dude I went to college with, and one is this woman that I know, this beautiful woman that I know. And she also had trigger finger, and I didn't know. And she told me she had it for 2 years. What are the chances both of us have it, And she said she had it for 2 years. And she said when she started taking the Camu, it left in 2 days. Now mine took 2 weeks. Maybe it's because I'm 3 times her size. I don't know. But hers unbelievably left in 2 days, and she had it for 2 years. Her skin started to look like a baby. I don't know if I can't remember. I think those are the main things that happened with her. There's another friend who I have who started developing deep wrinkles in her face. She started taking the Camu, and the wrinkles disappeared within weeks. Within weeks. Listen, you're wasting your time taking collagen pills. If you take vitamin C, that's what's needed for your body to create collagen in your body. Botox, all that stuff, you're wasting your time. Get Camu-Camu or any superfood that has at least 700, like you can get the cockadoo plum. You can try the acerola cherry. Those are the 3 things that I know that are super, super high in vitamin C. And again, the vitamin C complex works miracles, but you have to remember that there are thousands of bioflavonoids that are all antioxidants that do miracles in your body. Miracles. And they've only over the last, I think, 15 years or so started to research them. I think they've only named 5,000 of them, but they don't even know what they do. They only have researched a few of them, and you can look up these phytochemicals independently, and in these research articles to see what they do. But and what I love about this is it's showing you that human health, the rabbit hole for human health, is much deeper than you could ever believe. Because even in our modern society, they know very, very little about phytochemicals. And these things do miracles in your body. Now, this other friend, the college guy, he started taking this stuff. He doesn't wear glasses, but he could not read fine print. And when he started taking this stuff, he could start reading fine print I think it took about a month and a half, or just over a month. He could read fine print. Now, the two last stories I'm going to tell you, I think these are the two last, you're not going to believe me. Even I think it's madness. But my friend's mom came to me with kidney failure. This is the same one, actually, that had the hepatitis that I told her what to take to get rid of it. She came to me, and I went over to her place, and her hands were swollen, her lower extremities, her feet were swollen. She had excruciating lower back pain. She was weak beyond belief, could not barely urinate, and none of those symptoms linked up with kidney infection. All of those symptoms linked up with kidney failure. Now, typically, if somebody has kidney failure, I'll tell them take dandelion leaves or take black seeds, because I've read a lot of research that says that, and also testimonies, especially with dandelion leaves, that people said they've reversed kidney failure with just taking dandelion leaf tea. But I don't know how long that takes. I don't know what the time reference is with that. And there's research, and evidence saying that black seeds will do the same thing. Now, the interesting thing is, my intuition told me, tell her to take the Camu-Camu. Just tell her to take that. I told her, you know what? I just started researching this stuff. It was like a month into me taking it. I've been brainstorming, reading. I was reading for hours every day for a few months. And I'm still reading, believe it or not. And I told her, take the Camu-Camu. 36 hours later, taking 1 teaspoon 3 times a day, she was 100%. Now, this again, whole complex vitamin C, from everything I've seen and read, elucidates that it's the apex of the pyramid of all health. I believe that, I'm going to get biblical on you. I believe that in the Bible, let me just say, the Bible is recanted mythology by way of Babylon, Phoenicia, Babylon, and Acadia, and then Sumeria. So if you go deeper into the ancient stories, you get a more clear picture of what they were talking about. But I'm just going to say the Bible, since this is what we all mostly know in the West. I believe that the tree of life is real. I believe that the tree... Oh, Lord Jesus, this is what I forgot to tell you. When I was taking the Camu, I became more intelligent. Things that I would just do normally, I became more efficient. I started to see ways to do things that I didn't see before. It was incredible. It was mind-boggling. It's just, and the only thing I can think of is, I know I've been vitamin C deficient my whole life. I think all of us are. I think we're all borderline scurvy. All of us are borderline scurvy. And the RDI, the recommended daily intake for ascorbic acid, is just barely enough so you don't develop scurvy. Literally. You know, it's like they're just keeping us slaves to work so we don't get too sick where we can't manage and make their wealth. So that was the thing I forgot to say, and I'm sure there's something else I'm going to forget. Maybe as I tell these other two stories, something's going to trigger my memory. So anyway, now I forgot where I left off. Oh no, I remember. I believe that the tree of life was something that had, at the very least, the vitamin C content of Camu-Camu, because from everything that I've seen and researched, it seems that if you continually eat this with a good diet, you won't age. You won't get sick. This is what I believe. I think these trees were real, and they didn't want people eating these trees, just like today. Today, they don't want us to have real nutrition. They don't want us to have access to real nutrition. They're suppressing alternative medicine and alternative nutrition sites all over social media. You wouldn't even believe it. So anyway, the woman had her kidneys fully operational, and even better, 36 hours, 3 days later. Just taking 1 teaspoon 3 times a day. I followed, your mom always tells you to follow your gut instinct, the spirituals, the gurus, follow your intuition. That's what I did. I didn't tell her to take the dandelion. I told her about it, but I said, listen, try this first and see what happens. Now, the last story is the most unbelievable. And it's really, really, this one makes me smile. I have a friend, and she's married and she has 2 kids. Now, she came to me and she told me that, no, 1 kid is 8, 1 kid is 9. She told me that they can't read. So I'm like, what do you mean they can't read? When I was 8, 9 in Canada, I was learning French. English and Jamaican patois is my first language. And I was learning French and speaking French when I was in grade 4. So I was like, what do you mean they can't read? I've been around our kids. They seem to be normal. They're a lot of kids in the U.S. are kind of off, but I didn't think there was anything serious, So she told me they couldn't read. So I started doing all this research, and I told her that, I watched this video by this woman named I think her name is Suzanne Humphries. She's an ascorbic acid genius, if you want to call her that. But I disagree with her because she actually, she used to be a whole complex vitamin C person, but she also believes in the intravenous vitamin C, not vitamin C, but ascorbic acid, because apparently if you put a lot of ascorbic acid intravenously in your body, that it can do some things. Now, let me tell you this. I've read on Amazon reviews. Now, some of these companies I know are, especially these unknown companies, they're paying these companies or giving people free products to write stuff. But I can filter through stuff like that. I've read reviews on Camu-Camu where people are saying it's like oil of oregano. Now, as far as I'm concerned, wild oil of oregano, Oregano vulgare, will cure any viral infection except for herpes. It can affect herpes negatively, but I haven't heard anything where it actually can get rid of it, because herpes is a different situation, because it's not a blood-borne disease. It hides in your nervous system, so you have to attack it differently. But I haven't seen any virus that has stood up against oil of oregano. And somebody's saying that, and then the thing with the oil of oregano, you're going to think this is insane, but you could have the flu and you could be better in 2 hours, or at least feel drastically better in 2 hours, and by the next day be fine. And people are saying the same thing about Camu, which I found to be mind-boggling. So this woman, Kathleen, Suzanne Humphries, she's a intravenous vitamin. I'm not going to say anything negative about it. I've never tried intravenous vitamin C. Like I said, you have a better chance of shipping me to hell to meet the devil than to get a needle on me anyway. But one of the things she talks about is that animals, because people, we lost the ability to create ascorbic acid in our livers, and there's other primates and fruit bats and I think guinea pigs that also lost the ability to do it. I have theories as to why that might be the case, but what she says is that they don't create whole complex vitamin C in their livers. It's only ascorbic acid. Yes, that is true, but we live in a natural ecosystem. Everything is designed to support one another. If we could just create whole complex vitamin C in our livers, we wouldn't be living in balance with nature. Now, just like what I said earlier with the distilled water, my theory is, which I've read from other people, is that and I believe this is also why you have so many different results in vivo, when we do tests on people or even animals in terms of vitamin C, because when you take ascorbic acid by itself, just like distilled water, when it goes in your body, it's looking for all those, it's pulling out all those electrolytes to reconstitute itself. Ascorbic acid does the same thing. If you have a rich fruit and vegetable diet and you take lots of intravenous vitamin C, I'm sure it will work miracles in your body, because it can then go through what you're eating and reconstitute the tyronase, the vitamin K, the choline, and the bioflavonoids to reconstitute itself into whole complex vitamin C to do miracles in your body. This is my theory as to why that would work at that level, and why there's so much inconsistency with the research in terms of ascorbic acid, but not whole complex vitamin C. And you need the animals and the people to be dependent on these things so that we live in tune with nature and we don't abuse things like, and destroy things or whatever, or just put things out of balance. It creates a balance in things. We all support each other. We support nature. Nature supports us, so on and so forth. So anyway, Suzanne Humphries, which I would suggest people go to her page, her YouTube video, and listen to her video. She's a genius, man. And she has some very good knowledge there. But she did like this hour-long video on autism. I'm going to put this link in the description, her link for this autism video. It's about an hour long. So I said to my friend, I said, listen, I listened to this woman's video and I did the research on what she was saying. And, what they say is that all autistic kids and people have microbrain inflammation. And you can also go into the heavy metals. And the other thing that vitamin C does is it chelates metals and pulls it out of your body. So, just like what chlorella, I think that's right, chlorella and spirulina, I think spirulina does that, I'm not sure. But chlorella will bind to heavy metals and pull them out of your body. Vitamin C does that too. So, but the important thing is it's anti-inflammatory, and it will bypass the blood-brain barrier. So she made this video talking about everything that she has done in research in regards to autism, and researched other researchers points to vitamin C, microbrain information, and vitamin C passing the blood-brain barrier. So, vitamin C is very integral to neurons, forming neurons, neural connectivity, and communication. It's literally the glue, it's the magic potion for literally almost everything, if not everything in your body. So I told my friend, I said, listen, I told her, I said, I think this stuff can cure autism. I'm not sure, but I said everything I'm reading tells me I think this thing can possibly improve or cure autism from what I'm reading and what this woman said. So I said, your kids have this learning disability. It's she was blaming immunization. She had immunized vaccinated her kids, and she was freaking out about that when she did all the research on it. And she thinks that the heavy metals from the vaccination screw up their kids or whatever. So she got her kids on the Camu-Camu. What happened next is unbelievable. Within a month, the 8 and 9-year-old were both reading. Now, they both had failed grades, and they were both going to fail. They were both going to be held back the grade they're in. So when she confronted me with this issue, they were both just starting summer school. Plus, she was doing all this remedial stuff at home, all this technically homeschooling with the summer school. So the oldest one, the boy, went from being F in the class to ranked 8th, to ranked 5th, to ranked 1st by the time the school finished. And they were reading within a month. The girl was the younger one, the 8-year-old, was reading within a month, but she didn't progress like the boy. But she, as the mother said, she basically is a C student, which is better than failing. At least you're passing, but before neither of them could read. So for those who don't know, I sell black seeds, which has incredible health benefits for you. And I sell also diatomaceous earth. And she orders diatomaceous earth from me. So being that we kind of live, not that far from each other, when she orders from me, she doesn't order on my website or my Etsy store. She just texts me and tells me to bring her a bag and go over and we catch up and we talk. So I went over to her house with the bag and we were going to talk and I was going to get more update on the progress of her kids. And she told me something that blew me away. She said she didn't want to tell me initially because I guess she was embarrassed. Both of her kids are autistic. She said the boy is full spectrum autism, but functional. And she said the girl is the same thing. Now, I always knew there was something off with them, but I didn't put my finger on it. Now, when she told me this, I then realized why when I kept reiterating that I think this stuff can alleviate autism or fix it possibly, I see why she was so interested in trying the Camu-Camu. So the last time I spoke to her with an update, she told me that the one thing that they both did was that you would talk to them or ask them a question and they'd just space out. They'd just ignore you. She says that neither of them space out or ignore you when you ask them a question anymore. Now, I don't think they did it all the time, but she said they would do it periodically. It's like you weren't even there. She says they don't do that anymore. And not only do they reply and answer, but they're getting more detailed and elaborate in whatever they're responding to you about, which is mind-boggling. Mind-boggling. Now, this is the trick with Camu-Camu, from my understanding. You don't have to, but you have to remember, vitamin C and phytonutrients are very delicate in regarding heat. So when you buy a powder where they've applied heat to it, you're destroying the vitamin C content and possibly some or a lot of the phytonutrient content, which does its miracles. Now, when you buy this stuff, you want to get it raw, and you want to get it at the very least 700 milligrams of vitamin C per serving, which is about a teaspoon, 3 to 5 grams. Anything below that means they've applied heat to it or it's inferior. Now you have Camu-Camu out there, because I had to do a lot of research on this stuff to get real good Camu-Camu, because you have extracts. You don't want to extract. You don't want it if they're being dubious with the vitamin C content, because that means it doesn't have enough. You don't want it, like I've seen acerola, which is very high in vitamin C. I've seen it mixed with maltodextrin. I think somehow that might elevate his vitamin C. I don't remember. But maltodextrin is some GMO stuff they make or whatever. You want to get it raw and organic, because when it's raw, It has all the phytonutrients in it. And again, if it's less than that amount in vitamin C, 700%, it means they've been applying heat to it and it's not going to have the same potency. Now, you can get raw organic Camu-Camu powder from my Etsy store, Wild Blue Alchemist spelled with a Y, or my blog, nothingsIncurable.com. I'll have links to them in the description. But if you do not want to or cannot source it from me, make sure it's raw. Make sure it has at least 700% of the USDA RDI of vitamin C, which is about, oh man, what's that, like 700 milligrams? Somewhere up there. But it's 700%. That's when it works. The one thing I forgot to mention was one of my friends tried a Camu-Camu. They got these pills. I can't remember the name of the brand, but they're very elusive on their vitamin C content. And they weren't feeling anything when they were taking these pills, man. But when they switched to the Raw Organic Camu-Camu, then they started feeling all these health benefits. So this stuff, I think this stuff, like, listen, if you do vitamin C research, I mean, not vitamin C, if you do ascorbic acid research, they'll tell you everything. Oh, I'll get rid of cancer, I'll get rid of this. If you go to the Oregon State University Linus Pauling Institute, I think it's Pauling did on vitamin C, which is incredible. You know, incredible amount of information and all the different things that ascorbic acid will do for your health. They're not even talking about vitamin C. And like I said, whatever research you read on ascorbic acid, just multiply it times 100 in terms of what whole complex vitamin C will do for your life. But I'll say it again. I think possibly this stuff can alleviate or cure anything. This is my opinion from everything I've read. There's very little research on whole complex vitamin C. I believe that is by design because they don't want us to use this stuff. Because they have us all as sheeple, taking all these pharmaceuticals and all these drugs and degeneratively aging and so on and so forth. The other thing I didn't mention also, which is kind of private, but your sex life, my sex life, was already like a raging bull, but it became like a Brahma bull. It became, I'm not going to tell you anything because I'm not getting into those type of personal crap, but this stuff is amazing and it'll change your life. Research it, read my article because it's more in depth. It's not that long, and do your research. Try it. This stuff is amazing. And like I said, you have acerola, and which used to be just indigenous to the Caribbean, mainly Barbados, which is very, very high. It doesn't have, all these things have similar phytonutrients, but some of them have unique phytonutrients. So each high vitamin C superfood is going to have different superpowers, but they're all generally going to do the same thing. And you can check out the kakadu, which is a little bit pricey from Australia. But those three things, if you have access to it, get it, especially now, because I believe that if you have enough vitamin C, whole complex vitamin C in your body, I don't think that you can get virally sick. Remember, vitamin C releases this thing called interferons, which basically puts like a legion of Roman soldiers with shields on your cells so the virus can't enter your cell. A virus cannot do anything to you unless it can enter your cell. It's a parasite. So, especially in the times where now you want to have an impenetrable, or at the very least, strong immune system. So that's basically it. I think I haven't triggered anything. I know I haven't told everything because I'm winging it. I'm not like reading something and telling you, but I'm just going by everything I remember. So I think I told you everything. Read my article. If you want to try this stuff again, you can get it from my Etsy store. You can get it from my blog, nothingsIncurable.com. This is Sean. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel.